Welcome back. Let's talk about Tony Blair. When he was Prime Minister, he was obsessed with ID cards for all of us. He wanted all Brits to have ID cards. It was a big Labour flagship policy. They never got it through. Brits don't like the idea of it. He's still obsessed with it. He's still obsessed. He believes that we now should have digital ID cards that will be sort of chips, a government chip put into our phones. He says our taxes are high, our spending levels of public debt are high, outcomes are poor, so we spend more and more on the NHS than ever before, and the service is coming apart at the seams. We all agree with that. So I think there's a lot of inherent criticisms there in his successor, Keir Starmer. But he goes on to say the present system isn't working, and he says AI and digital IDs can make everything better. He says our present system isn't working. This is a time for shaking up, for a once-in-a-generation disruption. Digital ID is a good place to start. So he insists that what would be good is if we have a chip in our phones. By the way, Tony, some people don't have phones. A lot of old people don't have phones. We can't make it compulsory to own mobile phones, so how does that work for a kick-off? But he says what we'd have in there will be our passports, our bank accounts, everything about us, everything about us. So he says that will make, and I quote, that will make everything we do faster and cheaper, and soon, he goes on to say, we will wonder what all the fuss was about. Well, if Tony Blair wants this, folks, it's automatic, isn't it? We must resist it. We must resist it. I think this is about government control. He wants to control the people. He says it'll solve the migrant crisis. Why? How? How's that going to stop them coming across the channel or coming here legally? It's nonsense.
I mean, I really don't see how. I mean, what is it? You've got to scan a QR code to get into the UK, and you scan that on the beaches of Dover, and then you're in. I just don't get it. They give them free mobile phones and SIM cards, by the way, which is another scandal. I mean, look, I struggle to get that animated about digital ID. It could be a slippery slope to something scary, government control. They could use it as an opportunity to make money by selling your data. So if you've got to, say, scan it every time you say buy something at Tesco where you've got to show your ID, you go into a bar or something, then they can sell that data of where you go to various companies. It could go down that route. I don't know if it would. It's always hard to know with things whether the slippery slope is actually going to happen or not, because you can make that argument about a lot of things. But even if we didn't have that slippery slope, I don't understand why he thinks it's going to change the world. I don't see how me showing my driving licence on my phone versus flashing the physical thing is suddenly going to fix all of the world's problems. I don't get it. He thinks it's some sort of silver bullet. Well,
I think he was desperate to get it going when he was Prime Minister because I think he felt he could control the population, keep tabs on the population. That's what this is all about. Now, he no doubt viscerally and genuinely feels this would make it more efficient for the government, that they would be able to govern, you know, more easily, more efficiently. But, you know, there's a personal freedom issue here. You know, I mean, I used to live in America. I mean, pretty much you have to have a driving licence, even if you can't drive. You know, I mean, that's America, their decision. Frankly, I just, you know, inherently I'm repelled by this idea. You know, the government. You know, you have a government chip in your phone. You know, OK, it's have your passport, you better pay for things. Well, people obviously pay for things with their phone already, but it will be like, you know, like you have your phone details and your card and all that to pay for stuff now. It would be like that on steroids. I mean, everything you did is in your phone. But the main thing is, this is a government chip. And I say that makes for bigger government, and I am against bigger government. The less power a government has, the better a country.
Yeah, I think generally that is a good principle. If you make the government bigger, it doesn't really ever get smaller. It only really goes in one direction. Look, I don't have a problem with it making it mandatory for people to have ID. I think pretty much everybody has one, except a few people. I think you should have to use ID to vote, to stop voter fraud from happening. We've seen a lot of issues with that in the US. I wouldn't mind if there is an option for me to put my driver's licence on my phone in some way, but it has to remain optional, because I've had plenty of times where I've gone to the shop and then I've realised, oh, I haven't got my ID, so I can't buy that item. You know, you need it even just to buy a bottle of bleach in most shops. Not that I'm drinking that, just to clarify. I'm cleaning. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind if I could, you know, the post office has this post office ID that you can show to go get your parcel and whatnot. So I wouldn't mind if there's an option to put it on my phone, but it absolutely should not be mandatory, and people should be able to use the physical ones if they want to. And as you say, Kevin, a lot of people don't have a phone, or if they've got a phone, they've got just, you know, a Nokia brick. A lot of old people, they don't even have the internet.
I know, my parents, God bless their souls, I just could not manage to teach them computers. They
That's another thing. It would be an absolute pain if Tony Blair managed to get this to happen for all of us younger lot who have got to teach all the oldies how to figure it out.
There you go, like me, for example. But seriously, you know, I just say, if the government wants it, I don't want it. You know, as an individual, the kind of politics I believe in, I believe that individuals, in terms of their own lives, should be more powerful than the state. And if individuals like me, Chloe, and all of you say, you know what, I don't fancy this government digital ID chip, we should be able to say, stick it where the sun don't shine. As I say, on a general principle, if Tony Blair thinks something is a good idea, it's a bad idea. That's the way I see it. What, do you fancy the government controlling you? With a loaded question. Do you fancy being tagged by the government? That's basically what it is. They're tagging you, they're tabbing you. They know what you'll do. It will record all your activity. I mean, to a certain extent, as he points out, you know, your activities, our activities are already recorded. You know, your credit card companies know pretty much what you've been doing, you know, for the past month or whatever, and you get that Google message, don't you? These are all the places you've been, and there's pictures of it. So, yes, because of the digital age, our activities are recorded, sometimes rather worryingly in a sinister kind of a way. But, you know, c'est la vie. But what I don't want is the government in on all this. I don't want the government knowing where I've been, what I've done, what I've bought. So what do you think? What do you think? Do you fancy? Do you agree with Tony Blair? It's time that the government got more power and got you all to have digital ID chips in your phone. Yes or no? 0344 499 1000. When we come back, we're going to talk about what I see as Labour's slow murder of Brexit. I think they're killing it. You know, what nice words, fine words. Oh, no, we respect the Brexit vote. No, they absolutely, on a daily basis, utterly disrespect the Brexit vote.